Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find. I've always said he's a hell of a player. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the greatest ever. If he can stay healthy, the verdict's still out on that. But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when I bragged about him and Ben Simmons a few years ago, saying they're going to be the future of the NBA, he didn't call me and say, hey, Charles, thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's up, y'all? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. Hope everybody is staying safe. Hope everybody's staying cool, staying hydrated, and as hot as fish grease with this heat wave. I think tomorrow's it, and it'll kind of cool off a little bit, but the month of July is the weirdest time of the month for the summer, but that's neither here nor there. Before we get into the video, there's a few things that need to be said up front. I do apologize if you haven't seen any recent episodes on Spotify for my podcast. Again, if you go on Spotify, you just say Big Nate Talk Podcast. I'm up to believe episode 5, so I'm a couple episodes behind uploading, so please be patient with me. Those will get uploaded sometime later, either tonight or tomorrow for sure. I will give an update as far as season 1 for Big Nate Talk Podcast towards the end of this episode. We got a lot to get into tonight. There's a couple things that I do want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns. And really the Phoenix Suns really dominated game 1. I'm going to revisit the Rachel Nichols and ESPN topic because it seems that there's now more of can of worms has been open. Then we're going to get into Chennedy Carter and the Atlanta Dream fiasco. Her brother tweeted out some things, and I would say in the heat of the moment, emotionally, about what happened in the locker room with Chennedy and supposedly Courtney Williams. And I'm also going to we're going to revisit Sha'carri RIchardson. I'm going to give a quick take on that. She will miss the Olympics. And then the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are getting ready to wrap it up for the All-Star break. And then that'll be really for it this episode, episode 10. So we're going to get into it. I don't really know what to say. The Phoenix Suns, dumb Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks have to be the dumbest team. When I mean dumbest, like they're so, they make silly. They don't understand when it comes to making the adjustments. Like, let me pull the stats up. We're gonna break this down. First and foremost, I really want to say this. The only guy that really showed out for Milwaukee tonight was Giannis. And this is a guy coming off a hyperextended left knee. He's the only one, if I'm saying this right, that had a plus was a +1, and all the other starters were -11. Like, that's embarrassing. But we're going to break it down here. I want to point something out here. This is where I get on. This is where we're talking about Mike Budenholzer when it comes to making the adjustments. Because I think going forward with this series, they're going to have to play small. I really think putting Giannis at the 5, and because Brook Lopez, like, it's going to come down to a couple of things. First, let me point this out. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. I mean, Lord have mercy. I like 16 of 38. I'm sorry, hold on. 40. 16 of 40 from the field combined. Let me do the math real quick. That's 40% combined from the field. Like, if there's one strategy, because I'm trying to really understand this, because it seems to have worked in Game 6 against the Hawks. Why do you not stick with the same strategy that got you to where you are right now? Like, Chris Middleton was 5 of 12 from 3. Drew Holiday was 0 of 4. Brook Lopez hit 3. Giannis hit 1. PJ Tucker hit 1. But these guys were not ready. They were not ready for the Phoenix Suns. They were not ready for it. Like, Mike Budenholzer, like, it should not take you the fourth quarter. Because to me, the first quarter, they were playing really well. But, I mean, Milwaukee was taking, bad shots. They were playing like they just didn't want it. And unfortunately, like, the Chris Paul show, Chris Paul was literally picking every defender out. Why was Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez or Chris Paul? I don't know. You need to ask Mike Budenholzer that question, because that was dumb. Like, I give the Bucks credit because they at one point they were down. They were getting dubbed. They were high as 20 in the third quarter. Then they brought it down to 7. But I think the biggest thing, like, I give Chris Middleton credit. Like, he had 29 points, but it was an ugly 29 points. And then everyone was kind of like, there's a couple people that said, well, Giannis didn't really have his, he wasn't like MVP on us. Ladies and gentlemen, he just came off a hyperextended knee injury. The fact that he played for 35 minutes. He had 20 points and 17 rebounds. So I have to give Giannis credit. And then on top of that, like, Drew Holiday, like, the key to winning this for the Bucks to win is a couple of things. It's Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. They are your number 1 and number 2 options. Like, I just don't think, like, with Brook Lopez and Giannis out there on the floor, they clogged the lineup for Drew. And Drew couldn't really do anything. But you put Giannis at the 5, you're playing smaller and it's more athletic. Like, I think they should need to go with the lineup with Drew, Pat Connaughton, PJ, Chris, and Giannis. I think that lineup makes more sense because, like, Brook Lopez, I'm just really looking for a matchup between DeAndre Ayton and Brook Lopez. But instead, I got Chris Paul and Brook Lopez on Chris Paul and Bobby Portis. Like, poor defensive switches by the Bucks. And then on top of that, like, I really don't know if you're like, how do you come out game one and you look like you didn't want it? I mean, I'll say this, like in the fourth quarter, for example, like it was 92-70, 79. That's when Holiday and Middleton like began to turn it around. But at the end of the day, like check this out. Phoenix going into the second half, the score was 57-49. They were a perfect 12 of 12 from the free throw line. And then it was a 15-8 on fast breaks. The Bucks, again, they play better, especially Giannis, when he's in the paint. And they only shot, I believe it was under 50%, and didn't score off any. I believe they had six offensive rebounds and didn't score a point. Middleton, Lopez, and Giannis led the team. They scored 28 points combined. But I believe combined it was 22 of 49 from the field. And then I know they took I think it was 14, 15 threes from the three. So disappointing. Like the Bucks came out in the opening tip. I'm like, okay, they were trading baskets. They were trading buckets in that first quarter. But then when the second quarter came and I believe the game at one point was tied. It was 45-45. And then after that, Milwaukee only scored 4 points. Phoenix scored 12. And then going into half, that was the wrap. So I think the biggest thing going forward, I think the Milwaukee Bucks have to play small. I'm really disappointed in the Milwaukee Bucks, the way they played tonight. They're better than that. And the fact that they really came out, Phoenix was ready for them. Chris Paul is not playing around. Chris Paul wants to end this now. Because I personally see this series going to 6. I see this. I still have the Milwaukee Bucks winning in 6. I do. But the biggest thing, their free throws as a cohesive unit, 9 of 16, and then 45.5% from the field. That's not going to get it done. And then Milwaukee's got to really cut down the turnovers. Like Chris Middleton had 5 turnovers. Holiday had 3. Giannis had 3. And keep in mind too, the one play that was Chris Paul, he got Giannis on his hip, and then the one where Brook Lopez got a flagrant 1. I don't like that call, but again, like Chris Paul, to me, he always sells on certain calls. I mean, which you're going to see, but Phoenix, they blew the door open on these boys. I mean, DeAndre Ayton. Fun fact, according to StatMuse, let me pull that up. Players with 20 points, 15 plus rebounds, 80 plus from the field in a finals game in the shot clock era since 1955. DeAndre Ayton has joined that list. Who's on that list? Bill Russell, Kareem, and Will Chamberlain. And then Ayton now has 12 double-doubles in his first playoff appearance. The only guy to do that, Chuck Barkley, with 22 in 4 playoff games. Another stat by StatMuse, the Phoenix Suns are shooting 87% on free throws, the highest mark by a team in NBA playoff history, 10 games. They also shot 25 of 26 in game 1. And also, too, there was this kind of weird. Jay Crowder only had 1 point, but he still had a +1. No, sorry, +19. And that was the highest on the Suns. Behind that was Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, and then Ayton. But see, again, too, also Crowder made up for it on defense. Everybody else, Giannis was the only one. Then Pat Connaughton and Jeff Teague, but PJ Tucker -14, Brook Lopez -17, Middleton -11, Holiday -16, Bobby Portis -10. Like that's not going to get it done. Like, and then Chris Paul, I just can't say enough about Chris Paul. 32 points, 9 rebounds, he made 4 threes. Like, according to the StatMuse, he's the 3rd player ever, 36 plus also on the ABC. It was Kareem and Tim Duncan that scored 30 plus points in the finals game. Like, I was really expecting a competitive game 1. And instead I saw a punch to the gut. And Milwaukee, they tried to come back, but it wasn't enough. So I think the adjustments need to be made. I think Milwaukee has to play smaller. I just don't really get it with Mike Budenholzer. I really don't. I mean, it shouldn't take you the 4th quarter to make that adjustment. It really honestly shouldn't. So I want to pull it. I'll leave the interview about Giannis because he did say he felt like he was going to be out for the year when he went down with an injury. I thought he was too. I thought he had tore his ACL. And according to this stat here, the Bucks were 1 of 11 on shots defended by Devin Booker. Now, keep in mind now that when they played the Clippers, Marcus Morris, particularly I'm using Marcus Morris as an example. Really, the defense on Devin Booker showed. But Devin Booker came out ready tonight, y'all. Combined, Middleton and Holiday 0-9. Just disappointed in the Bucks. I believe they'll kind of come out and win game 2, but they play dumb. They play really dumb. They make silly, dumb mistakes. They don't make adjustments. Like, Devin Booker, Ayton, like, the Phoenix Suns were ready. That's all I can say. Again, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, y'all were like, especially Chris Middleton. You're representing Team USA. Drew Holiday, you're underrated point guard in the league, all-star. And to come out and play like that in game one, that's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm telling you, this Phoenix Sun team, now I would have liked to have seen this matchup against the Hawks, but I believe the Bucks will get it together in game two. But coaching. Another thing is, too, the Milwaukee Bucks, everyone has been saying it. Inside the NBA, ESPN, everyone has been saying it. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have killers. They play too nice. Giannis is getting a pass because he just came off an injury. Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, they got to play better. That's all it comes down to. I still have faith in the Bucks. They'll win this, but the Milwaukee Bucks, man, I'm telling you, today they definitely played like the dumb Bucks. They definitely played like the dumb Milwaukee Bucks, and it showed. It clearly showed. And I'm telling you right now, they better be watching it. I'm telling you, Coach Bud. I believe the Bucks are going to be more prepared. I just feel like the Bucks are going to win game two. If they get game two, I think that's confidence. But if they don't come out with a swagger in game two, where they're being aggressive, because Drew Holiday was unleashed with Giannis not there. Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is better coming off the pick and roll. You don't have to stand out there all the time shooting threes. But the Bucks got to come out aggressive and just play Milwaukee Bucks ball. If they do that, great things are going to happen. I believe, again, they're going to win this championship. But it's going to come down to making the right adjustments and not making dumb mistakes. Plain and simple. We're going to transition into the WNBA. I talked about this in episode 9. It was a bonus, which will be uploaded on Spotify and Anchor. The Atlanta Dream. So I don't know what's going on down in the ATL, but I know that there is some things that's not looking too good. Chennedy Carter was suspended until further notice for detrimental conduct against the team. I'm saying that so backwards. I apologize. But basically, she's suspended until further notice. Something happened in that locker room. Something happened. Her brother, I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see the tweet. Because there's two sides to every story, and the truth's going to come down the middle. But this is her brother saying that, tell them how Courtney Williams swung on my sister in the locker room and how Mike got mad because she caught her agent right after. Let the people know. And he deleted it. I believe that, from what I'm understanding, maybe he was deleted. This could have been in heat of the moment. They're trying to appeal the suspension. But something going on. Now, Carter was suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. But this is getting real. This is kind of getting messy. Courtney Williams came out and said it's deleted because it's cat that never happened. Well, something happened. So here is Chennedy Carter's leg sleeve. This app, the cap on this app, but why are you on here defending yourself, huh, clown? Defending myself or killing all the allegations. You're a leg sleeve page. I mean, again, like I said, I just think that it just doesn't – something's going on down in Atlanta. And like the truth's going to come down the middle. But I think a lot of it just has to do with, I think there's they lack a leader in Atlanta. I like Mike Peterson, but he's not the coach for this team. Again, when you hear there's no accountability from top to bottom, that stings. And then on top of that, something occurred for her to be suspended. Now I know, again, I said in the previous video that Chennedy, it's documented certain behavior when she was in college. I understand that, and she's a great player, but you can't tell me that there's no egos with the Atlanta Dream. You can't tell me that. Like, no one's going to say that because everyone, again, like I said, people are going to, it can easily be denied. Well, I never said that, never happened. Because it's what happens in the locker room, it stays in the locker room. But for her brother to come out with these tweets, with that tweet, that don't look good. It doesn't. But this is I don't think Courtney. The people were going off on Courtney Williams. I don't. Let me say it this way. She's a rough rider. She's a point guard that I would have on my team. I don't think she's a hothead. I don't feel like trouble does not follow her, no matter where she goes. I don't agree with that. I mean, she's not a troublemaker to me. She just is a player that wants hers. I mean, the biggest issue is that there needs to be accountability for the parties that are involved in everything, not just one. Because to me, this is I don't know. But something's not going right in Atlanta. And I guarantee we're going to find out more. It wouldn't faze me if Chennedy Carter is out of Atlanta, honestly. I think, again, with Tiffany Hayes, when she comes back from her injury, then Arian McDonald, Odyssey Sims, Courtney, they're guard heavy. They're too guard heavy. And with Chennedy, I think some of it could be minutes, and then it could be also play design. That's just me. But again, like I asked the Indiana Fever, like she was right there for the take. I know you have Kelsey Mitchell and Tiffany Mitchell. I understand that. But the fact you drafted Laura Cox even the year before you had Tiara McCowan. We're going to find out more about this. We are. So I just don't like that her brother came out with that. And I feel like it was deleted because it probably was in the heat of the moment. But again, we don't have all the facts. We don't really know what really happened. But we'll find out for sure. But I do hope Atlanta Dream do get together. And because, like I said, on paper, they are a great team. Like I said, this notion that their record, they should be better than a 6-11. That's a joke. So we're going to transition. I'm going to revisit a topic I talked about in the previous video with Rachel Nichols and ESPN. It seems to me like a can of worms has been opened ever since the Rachel Nichols came out and pretty much I'm not willing to give up what I'm doing for the finals just to give shine to somebody else. Rachel Nichols was pulled from the NBA Finals, and Malika Andrews took her spot, and I think we need to have a serious conversation, y'all, about being diverse in these positions. Rachel Nichols is a good journalist. She does her job well. I feel like she has to take some accountability here, because when you hear, quote, if you need to give her more things to do because you're feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side of it, like, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. Like, just find it somewhere else. To me, that sounds like you're not taking my spot. Like, you're not taking my light of, you're not taking my light away from me. And people are going to raise eyebrows and go, wow, you're not willing to sacrifice to let Maria Taylor, who's put in the work, who covers the NFL, college, and the NBA, who works just as hard as you, and particularly as a woman. You're not willing. It doesn't. Let me back up. Doesn't matter, man or woman. What happened to? Let me. You know what? You've put the work in. This is your moment. Enjoy it. You worked your ass off for this. But instead, again, we live in this society, and it's every person for themselves. I gotta look out for mine. Like Adam Silver came out here in the USA Today and said, quote, it's particularly unfortunate that two women in the industry are pitted against each other, Silver said. Both Rachel and Maria are terrific at what they do. They work extraordinarily hard. But he goes on to say, quote, confidence in the leadership of ESPN and, of course, my Disney colleagues, he laminated the network issues played out publicly and said behind closed doors. Quote, what we're seeing in ESPN is one thing to talk about the principles around diversity and inclusion. It's something else when it comes to somebody's specific job and how that's handled, Silver said. What I've learned from dealing with the issues in the NBA that they are extremely complex. There's no magic bullets here. They require a very labor-intensive effort of getting people in the room and working through these issues, and by talking a lot about them and then talking even more about them, and creating a climate where people are comfortable saying what's on their mind when people are given the benefit of the doubt, especially long-term employees that are in good standing, that when they do make comments, that people recognize that people make mistakes. Careers shouldn't be raised by a single comment, by a single comment, excuse me. We should be judging people by the larger context of their body of work, and who they are, and what we know about them. Like, that's kind of giving her. I understand what he's saying, but I think we're missing the point. The point is, at the end of the day, the question for Rachel is, why aren't you in support? Why would you? First of all, you went to LeBron James' advisor and had it and was saying, I'm not. Basically, you're saying, if they want to give her more things to do, go. It's not. And she's not taking what I'm doing. I'm the face of ESPN when I cover the NBA Finals. But personally, I think for her to be removed, I think it's just. Let me just say this. I think it opens up a can of worms for ESPN. But I think this is a. I think this is a great opportunity to have a conversation for what diversity is, because I don't look at diversity. I look at more of when you're put in these positions. I've said this a couple times, and the conversation I had with a friend, he told me, when you go in these job interviews and they tell you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You tell them straight off the bat, taking your job. I'm not here to kiss your ass or do whatever. If I'm putting the work in and bust my ass every day to get to a point where at a company I'm not getting valued compared to, for example, Rachel Nichols. Like Maria Taylor has puts work in just as hard as Rachel. But I think again, it's complex because then there's egos. And then there's people who understand diversity, but don't really truly know what diversity is. And I know today they canceled her on the jump. I know they're going to have it tomorrow. But especially the times that we're in, where we're talking about we want more diversity in these positions of power, and we're trying to, it's a conversation that needs to be had, because Rachel Nichols is a great reporter and she has a passion for what she does. But at the end of the day, if we just continue to not see the bigger picture, like we're going to play the apology from her. So I think because the way the comment came out by Rachel, that wasn't cool. I think that's what it really is, more than anything.
So the first thing they teach you in journalism school is don't be the story. And I don't plan to break that rule today or distract from a fantastic finals. But I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how much I respect, how much I value our colleagues here at ESPN, how deeply, deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor, and how grateful I am to be part of this outstanding team.
Well, Rachel, I want to say thank you. Thank you for accepting responsibility for your actions. You know, as someone that has known you for a long time, you know, being around you, you have treated me with the utmost respect, and you always made me feel comfortable in your presence. And I know your heart, you know, great person, great individual. I also know Maria Taylor, great person as well, very, very talented, hardworking, and I feel like she also deserves every opportunity that is presented her way. My only hope is that we have a commitment overall to support each other through this process and continue to support each other through our journey.
No, I agree with Perk. Let me first say this. I fully support Maria Taylor. I've worked with her since I joined ESPN at Get Up and Countdown, and I've known Rachel for 20 years. Rachel and our entire group here have had some very difficult conversations over this time period. And those conversations don't end here. We will continue to have uncomfortable conversations. No one is excused. She is not excused. Right. I am not excused. Perk. This doesn't just go away, but we have to learn and understand it and become better for each other. And really through our actions more than anything. And that is our responsibility. And we all have a role in that. And that's something that I take pride in. And I hold to myself and everyone to a very high standard.
Well, thank you guys both for being with me here today. Thank you, everyone out there, for being with us here today.
I mean, and I second those thoughts. What you said. We just, we all have to learn and grow from the situation. Yes, unfortunately, when we talk about race, when we talk about like the critical race theory, yes, there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations, but it needs to be had. But like, but Maria Taylor at the end of the day deserves opportunities just like Rachel Nichols, but not just like Maria Taylor. That's anybody. Christina Williams, Nathan Snell, multiple examples of everyone getting opportunities. Because why? They've put the work in and they bust their asses off just compared to Rachel Nichols. But that's with any job. You see it, for example, job that I work, clear politics. People are getting moved up, left, and right, up, down, left, and right because of their name. And also, too, color of their skin. But see, when we talk about diversity, the same people get moved up. And here's others that worked just as hard as them. They have the same degree. They day in, day out, sometimes work late, double overtime. They don't get appreciated. But again, these are conversations that need to be had. They need to be had. So I'm with them. I feel like, again, I feel like there are people that are trying to cancel Rachel. Again, I'm not a fan of this whole cancel culture thing because nothing good comes out of it. Let's all learn and grow from mistakes. Plain and simple. Sha'carri Richardson will miss the Olympics. Sha'carri Richardson, excuse me. We talked about her in episode 9. Sha'carri Richardson tested positive for marijuana. And in the aftermath of that drug test, everybody pretty much came out and saying, they're racism. Some people were saying, well, because she's LGBTQ. Others are saying, it's marijuana. Particularly the marijuana advocates were pretty much defending her, even though she took responsibility for her actions. My only issue, and I've said this, there are people that deal with trauma in many ways. I just feel like when she said her mom passing away, again, people deal with trauma differently. But I use an example. Like I said, if one of my parents died tomorrow, or even with COVID, the pandemic, I could have done some really dumb shit. Excuse my language. Like, there are better ways of handling. There's counseling. There's going to a church. Friends, family, even though there are devil's advocate. You can give me devil's advocate counter arguments with that. But she was left off the team and she secured it when she was in 100 meters last year. I believe it was in, can't remember what it was. But the USA Doping Agency, the USATF, came out and said, quote, "First and foremost, we are incredibly sympathetic towards Sha'carri Richardson's exonerating circumstances and applaud her accountability, and will offer her continued support both on and off the track. While the USATF fully agrees that the amendment of the World Anti-Doping Agency rules related to THC should be reevaluated, it would be detrimental to the integrity of the U.S. Olympic team trials for track and field if the USATF amends its policy following competition only weeks before the Olympic game." Now, everyone was going at, Team USA, but you got to understand this is an international rule. Like, how do I feel about her not being there? I'm shocked that she was left off the roster. But I feel like this is a lesson and a blessing in disguise. I think this is an opportunity for her to really step back and take some time for herself. because I think with, again, her mom passing away, and then on top of that, you have, what you did. You did this weeks before the Olympics. I can understand if it was 3 months before. That's different. But I think this is a good opportunity for her to get herself together, learn, grow, and again, we got 2024 people. Shacarri she'll be back. It's not the end of the world. I mean, for y'all to call out Team USA track and field and to say this and then compare it to Michael Phelps, I think everyone's missing the point. It seems like we as a society, it's like, even though she took accountability, which I respect and applaud, it's kind of like, well, let's just do whatever we want and not think about the consequences. So because I'm in college. So if I'm on the basketball team and I'm tested positive for weed, I lose my scholarship. What does that mean for me? I'm shit out of luck. Because I'm going to school on a basketball scholarship. Again, another example. I've used him quite a few times. Josh Gordon, great talent, but again, documented since he's been in college, a drug problem, and his coaches encouraged him to do it. But he's getting opportunity after opportunity in the NFL, and guess what happens? He blows it. When do we sit back and go, listen, dude, you need to really go to rehab, or you know what? We like at some point you gotta be held accountable. You gotta be held accountable. You have to think about the consequences. Plain and simple. Last topic. I wish her all nothing but the best. She's a great track and field runner. I do see her back there in 2024, but I feel like everybody just let's move on. Let's all learn and grow from it. Plain and simple. So the Baltimore Orioles, they won tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays 5-7. Disappointed, but I'm not like I'm actually kind of proud of the Orioles. Offensively, we kind of held our own against Anaheim. We lost Saturday night 1-4. The thing that just lacks with Baltimore is the pitching. It truly is the pitching. Like tonight, Spencer Watkins went 5 innings, gave up three hits, 1 earned run, walked 3, struck out 2. Dylan Tate, Tanner Scott, Tyler Wells, combined 6 strikeouts between 4 pitchers. But like Cedric Mullins had a home run tonight. Trey Mancini, he's getting ready for the home run derby. Like the biggest thing, the bats are starting to wake up. Like I just think that the pitching we just need some really to invest in some pitching, honestly and truthfully, because like we're now 27 and 57, 28 and 57, excuse me. We're the last 5 games, we're 5-5 or 500, so I can't get mad at that. Oh, look at that. Going into the All-Star break, the Boston Red Sox are 10.5 games ahead of everybody. Meanwhile, we're 25.5 games. Like the most disappointing team in the AL is the New York Yankees. I don't care what anybody says. Like that team on paper, like they're done. Like their window for a championship is slowly but surely closing. That's why I was never sold on them last year, and I damn sure wasn't sold on them this year. Plain and simple. That's not bias. That's fact. The Houston Astros. Listen, we as much as people hate them, and also too, I found it really disappointing. I was reading an article on Bleachers Report that let's look at it real quick. There's no Astro made the All-Star team. I'm saying that correctly. Hold on. Yeah, no Astro made the All-Star team starting. Like, damn, y'all still haven't let that go, huh? Damn. That's crazy. I mean, I know what the Astros did was wrong. I mean, I don't think that's as bad as no, let me I'll leave that alone. I gotta learn to let that go. But hey, wow. Like, I'm disappointed Justin Turner didn't make it. Justin Turner should have made it. There's a couple other players. Let me find that article which is support for y'all. That article actually really stood out personally. And also too, with the Dodgers too, it's another situation that needs to be talked about with Trevor Bauer being accused that he has sexual allegations against him. I'm surprised that the Major League Baseball hasn't suspended him yet. I know he was supposed to start. He was supposed to start Saturday, but they took him out. So I think pretty much they're gonna do their investigation. Oh wow, the Brewers trade for Rowdy Tellez from the Blue Jays. Wow, okay. Please be patient with me on. So I'm trying to find the article. Oh, let me also say this about Adam Ottavino. I thought that was very disrespectful to say to Shohei Ohtani. He said, "quote Happy birthday, bitch." I thought that was very uncalled for, unprofessional. I don't know what that's all about. First and foremost, I mean, that's nothing to me. I like that's all about thin skin. But understand this: Ohtani's having an MVP year as a two-way player. We have not seen that in the game of baseball, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know what that was all about. I really don't. I don't know if it's just trash talk, but that's neither here nor there. So I was reading somewhere where there's a guy I follow on Twitter was saying, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Mookie Betts is the only one. Max Muncy leads the NL with a 41.416 on base percentage, and they were both named to the NL reserve squad, and Chris Taylor was. No one was a starter. And their credentials, they're the league scoring best record and the fourth most RWAR of any team. Adam Frazier, I want to give some love. Shout out to Adam Frazier, well deserved. Because we got to define what All-Star is, and I'm looking at his numbers, and I know people are going to say, "Well, are those numbers meaningful on a winning team? And I know the Pirates, look at their record real quick. They're 32 and 53. Wow, they got the 30 games with wins before we did. So it's going to be the Baltimore Orioles and the Arizona Diamondbacks for the first 2 picks. Okay. All right, that's cool. That's disgusting. But look, check this out. 324, 392, 426 batting line, and 24 doubles. Definitely playing his ass off. Now, he upset Ozzie Albies, who's been an all-star, has an 851 on base percentage, 15 home runs up until this when the article was made. So then again, the Houston Astros. I'll leave this article in the description for y'all from Bleachers Report. Like damn. But I know what this is about. I know why no Astro made it, because again it's the cheating scandal. That I understand that. I get it. Who else did they say? Carlos Rendon, well deserved. Freddie Peralta, I think he kind of slowed down a bit, and I do expect him to pick it up. His numbers, if you look at it, is Cy Young worthy in the National League. But I mean, he'll probably make the roster, probably by injury, or someone doesn't want to play. But I mean, when you have Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and then Josh Hader, like, come on, man. So, we're getting ready to close the first half of the season. My Baltimore Orioles, I want to cry. And here's a fun fact: we are a better away team than at home. We're 15 and 31 away from Camden Yards as opposed to 13 and 26 at home. But we're 5-5 in the last 10 games. So we wrap it up. I think our last series is against those Chicago White Sox. I think they actually we go play the Royals. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got Toronto tomorrow night, and then Thursday night, and then we wrap it up back home. Well, we're already home, but we wrap it up at home against the White Sox. That's going to be actually a good little series. I know Baltimore's going to look for some payback some type of way. So, and then after that, we're on a little mini break for the All-Star game. Looking forward to that. Then we come back on the 16th against Kansas City on the road. So, with that being said, I think after the NBA Finals, whatever happens, that will conclude season 1 of Big Nick Talk Podcast. There'll probably be some different things that'll change going into season 2. So I'm hoping to have some more guests join me. Been trying to reach out to a few people, different people, like a few WNBA players, WNBA stars. Haven't heard anything from their agents. I'm trying to be more consistent with covering mini games as best I can. I do know when season 2 starts, that'll be around the NFL, because as of today, there's 68 days until the NFL, particularly Raven football, starts and Washington football starts. So I'm looking forward to that. But like I said, when the NBA is all done, that's more focused on the WNBA, Major League Baseball for now. I know that Stanley Cup is coming to a close as well. So we definitely got some more. That's more for me to focus on. So those are my updates as far as season 1. So this concludes episode 10. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts about the Phoenix Suns and the dumb Bucks. I don't want to say it like that, but the Milwaukee Bucks, man, like they piss me off. They really do. They like coaching and leadership matters. Y'all let me know about how y'all feel about the Atlanta Dream fiasco, Rachel Nichols, Sha'carri, and the Baltimore Orioles. If there are any Oriole fans out here, I can't be the only one, please. And then if you want me to discuss any other topics in future episodes of my podcast, leave them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the subscribe button along with notification bells on. Well, the grind doesn't stop, man. Just on the road to greatness, baby. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay up.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find. I've always said he's a hell of a player. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the greatest ever. If he can stay healthy, the verdict's still out on that. But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when I bragged about him and Ben Simmons a few years ago, saying they're going to be the future of the NBA, he didn't call me, hey, Charles, thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like